Hello guys, this is Dan ASMR and today I'm speaking in English and I'm going to talk about the Portuguese language. I have recorded some videos in Portuguese because it's my native language, and today I will explain some things about this romantic language, also called in Portuguese we call língua portuguesa or Portuguese. Portuguese is the sole official language of Portugal, Brazil, Mozambique, Angola, Cape Verde, Guinea-Bissau, and São Tomé and Príncipe. It also has co-official language status in Macau, China, Equatorial Guinea, and East Timor. As the result of the expansion during colonial times, Portuguese speakers are also found in Goa, Daman, and Diu in India, in Batticaloa on the east coast of Sri Lanka, and in Malacca in Malaysia. Portuguese is a part of the Ibero-Romance group that evolved from several dialects of colloquial Latin in the medieval Kingdom of Galicia, with approximately 210 to 250 million native speakers and 260 million total speakers. Portuguese is usually listed as the sixth most spoken language in the world, the third most spoken European language, and the major language of the Southern Hemisphere. It is also the most spoken language in South America and the second most spoken in Latin America after Spanish, as well as an official language of the European Union and Mercosur. Spanish author Miguel de Cervantes once called Portuguese the sweet and gracious language, and the Spanish playwright Lope de Vega referred it as sweet, while the Brazilian writer Olavo Bilac poetically described it as a última flor do lácio, inculta e bela. That means the last flower of Latium, rustic and beautiful. Portuguese is also themed the language of Camões, after one of the greatest literary figures in the Portuguese language, Luís Vaz de Camões. In March 2006, the Museum of Portuguese Language, the first language museum in the world, an interactive museum about the Portuguese language, was founded in São Paulo, Brazil, the city with the greatest number of Portuguese language speakers in the world. And this is a text from Wikipedia. I forgot to mention. But so let's see about the history of Portuguese language. So when the Romans arrived in the Iberian Peninsula in 216 BC, they brought the Latin language with them, from which all Romance language descend. The language was spread by arriving Roman soldiers, settlers, and merchants who built Roman cities mostly near the settlements of previous civilizations. Between AD 409 and 711, as the Roman Empire collapsed in the Western Europe, the Iberian Peninsula was conquered by Germanic peoples. During the migration period, the occupiers, mainly Suebi and Visigoths, quickly adopted late Roman culture and the vulgar Latin dialects of Peninsula. After the Moorish invasion of 711, Arabic became the administrative and common language in the conquered regions, but most of the remaining Christian population continued to speak a form of Romance, commonly known as Mozarabic, which lasted a couple of centuries longer in Spain. The influence exerted by Arabic on the different Romance dialects spoken in the Christian kingdoms and in Portugal in particular was mainly restricted to affecting some of the lexicon. Portuguese or Old Portuguese or Old Galician of the northwestern medieval kingdom of Galicia, the first among the Christian kingdoms after the start of the Reconquista of the Iberian Peninsula from the Moors. It is in Latin administrative documents of the 9th century that written Galician Portuguese words and phrases are first recorded. This phrase is known as Proto-Portuguese, which lasted from the 9th century until the 12th century independence of the country of Portugal from the Kingdom of Galicia, then a sub-kingdom of Leon. In the first part of Galician Portuguese period, from the 12th to the 14th century, the language was increasingly used for documents and other written forms. For some time, it was the language of preference for lyric poetry in Christian Hispania, much as Occitan was the language of poetry of the troubadours in France. Portugal became an independent kingdom in 1139 under King Alonso I of Portugal. In 1290, King Denis of Portugal created the first Portuguese university in Lisbon, the Estudos Gerais, later moved to Coimbra, and decreed that Portuguese, then simple, called the common language, be known as the Portuguese language and used officially. In the second period of Old Portuguese, in the 15th and in the 16th centuries, with the Portuguese discoveries, the language was taken to many regions of Africa, Asia, and the Americas. The great majority of Portuguese speakers now live in Brazil, Portugal's biggest former colony. By the mid-16th century, Portuguese had become a lingua franca in Asia and Africa, used not only for colonial administration and trade but also for communication between local officers and Europeans of all nationalities. Its spread was helped by mixed marriages between Portuguese and local people, and by its association with Roman Catholic missionary efforts, which led to the formation of Creole language such as that called Christian in many parts of Asia, from the word Christão, that means Christian. The language continued to be popular in parts of Asia until the 19th century. Some Portuguese-speaking Christian communities in India, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, and Indonesia preserved their language even after they were isolated from Portugal. The end of the Old Portuguese period was marked by the population of the Cancioneiro Geral by Garcia de Rezende in 1516, the early times of modern Portuguese, which spans a period from the 16th century to the present day, was characterized by an increase in the number of learned words borrowed from classical Latin and classical Greek since the Renaissance, with greatly enriched the lexicon. This is the history of Portuguese, guys. So, in this article in Wikipedia, in the English version, there is more information about the Portuguese language, like the geographic distribution. There is some information about the population of countries and jurisdiction of Portuguese official or co-official language. It's very interesting. The article also writes about dialects of Portuguese in different countries where it is spoken. So, and the vocabulary, the differences, there is a lot of things, the evolution, the classification, there is an interesting for knowledge, historical knowledge, because I like to read sometimes the Wikipedia, because there is a lot of articles, in interesting articles. It's a rich information, I believe. So, and there is a lot of references to articles and other websites where they use it to make this article. So, about the written system, Portuguese is written with 26 letters of the Latin script, making use of 5 diacritics to denote stress, vowel, height, contraction, nasalization, and other sound changes: acute accent, grave accent, circumflex accent, tilde, and cedilla. Accented characters and diagraph are not counted as separate letters for collation purpose. So, there is information about grammar, about pronunciation. So if you want to speak Portuguese in future, is a good reference to know more about this language. I'm considering to do a role play of Portuguese class in future. And if you like this video, please comment and subscribe for receive notifications about new videos. Okay guys, so this is all for today, and see you next video. Bye bye.